Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here. It's Tuesday the 2nd of April. Okay, we're back after a bit of a break over Easter, and health continues to improve, so thanks to everybody that have sent well wishes, etc. Right, spring is almost upon us. It's actually a bit dry today. The mower's out, but we're not going to do a video on the mower, but it is trying to the sun's trying to break through. So let's get back onto this. Right, so when we last left it, we were still on with these mudguards, and hopefully this will be the last video on painting, etc., because what we've got to do is get on with these mudguards, and also do a little bit of tidying up on the chain guard, and then we'll be into assembly, I think, which will be good news. So I think when we left it last time, we'd prepped the underside and treated it. It's, considering the state of the guards, it's not too bad, but we're going to build the bottom side up with, although it's been treated, Nitro Moors rust paint, anti-rust metal paint. So we'll build the underside up with that. I mean, it's not going to be a great finish on it, but it'll be clean and pretty tidy, much better than it was, which is what we want. So that was at the end of the last video, and all I've done since then is, as I stated, I've masked off the existing pinstripe areas, as you can see, and I've just done an emery rub down on this to try and get a reasonable smooth surface on it, especially around the mounting holes, etc., where paint had chipped, etc. got quite a bad bit down there, and that's going to take a bit of effort to flatten it off properly, but it will get there. So I've done the same on both guards, and what I'm going to do now is wet and dry all this to get a good key surface and get it as flat as I can, and then we'll build up with primer undercoat before we then spray it silver. So it looks bad, but it's going to come out okay, I think, and we've just got to be patient and keep putting on the layers and flattening out, smoothing off, etc., sanding, and we'll get there. So first thing I'm going to do then is, got several grades of wet and dry. I'm going to just start working this lot and get it smoothed off, and then we'll get our first coat of primer on it and see where we take it from there. I'm probably going to, I say, prepare the top surfaces and primer those first before we then go on to the underside and put some layers of that Nitro Moors paint on there. Okay, let's get cracking. There's the evidence, look. Blue sky, sun, must be spring. Right, give them a good rubbing down with wet and dry, and now giving them several coats of primer, i.e. a good layer, before we then rub down again. And the camera probably shows these up better, as being better than they actually are, but there's a lot of work to do yet. We've not even scratched the surface, so if I go in close, there's lots to do around here, for instance. So the primer's brought it all out, which is fine, that's what it's for. So plenty to do, but we've just got to be patient and crack on. So we'll let this harden a lot today. It's a nice drying day, warm and slightly breezy, and then we'll rub down and give it another coat. Right, we're into the next day in the evening. It's not been such a good day today, so I've not been able to do any painting, but I've come in this evening just to rub down this. This is on sort of third coat following flattening off, and you can just see there's a little tiny bit of a depression there, but we're almost there. Other than that, beginning to look pretty good, and I know it usually shows it better on the camera than it does in real life, but seriously, they're looking pretty good, and the front mudguard's better than the back here. But say I'll just wet and dry this in preparation for hopefully another coat tomorrow, and then I think we're just about there. Just a light flattening off, and we'll do a thin layer of silver. Right, let's get on with this, because I know it's not very entertaining or inspiring, but it's just a job that's got to be done. Right, where are we now? Sunday, the 7th of April 2024. Bit of a breezy but bright day today, but quite mild, so been a good prep day. So over the last couple of days, still been working on the top surfaces, just ironing out little bits and pieces, always things that you find, but I think we're there now, I think. And then what I've been doing as well is beginning to put the nitramol silver paint on the underside. I know it's not perfect because these were quite badly pitted, these guards. So just to recap, we stripped them, ground them down, de-rusted them, and then I put this nitramol's rust paint on too, and it's come out okay. I've done the underside of the front mudguard too, but what I might do next is just put some of the same paint on a brush and just run it inside that beaded edge there, because you can't quite spray everything into there, and just to give it a bit of extra sealant. It's not done too bad, the spray, but if it'll focus. But yeah, we'll probably just drop a little bit in there, but at the moment I think we're done for the day, because I just wanted these to harden off properly now. And as most of you probably know, the worst thing you can do is try and rush this, and then you make a hash of it and you have to start again. I've also used the nitramol paint on the front bracket for the front mudguard. It's this is the replacement one that we ordered second-hand off eBay. The zinc plating on it, the original zinc plating, isn't too bad, but there's one or two places where it's rotted through a little bit, so I decided to prep it into silver paint. So at least with the paint and quite a bit of zinc plating still left underneath the paint, then that should be good for a while. Okay, right, back for the next and maybe final clip, possibly tomorrow, although the weather forecast isn't too good. But as I say, next thing is to run a bit of paint on a brush down the beads, and then we'll get the top coat silver sheen on the top side. Just a thin coat's required, because we don't want too much of a ridge where the masking tape is, and that's masking off the central sort of Union Jack line on it. Right, okay, leave it there. Back maybe tomorrow. Right, a couple of days later. Yesterday was an absolute washout, but here we are today. Where are we? Thursday the 11th of April. Right, as you can see, I put a layer of top coat down on these mudguards, silver sheen. It is Triumph silver sheen on the Jubilee Bonneville, and the front mudguards come out really well. Quite pleased with that. Had one or two little tiny bits at the back just to flatten off a bit, and just put another thin coat of paint on. But it's a tale of two halves, because the rear mudguard, God, when I put the top coat on, it showed up all sorts of imperfections everywhere. So as you can see, I had to do quite a bit of rubbing down on this, all over really. And in some places I think I'm going to have to give it another bit of primer because we're down to bare metal. But that's okay, that's what it's for. So that's what we'll get on with now. The front mudguard just needs to be put away now to harden off a bit more before we remove the masking tape, maybe just tidy up the edges, and then we'll lacquer that. But in the meantime, let's get on with the back mudguard. And also I've made a start on the chain guard. Now, the chain guard. This is the back side of the chain guard. It's obviously been rubbing like hell. The back tie's obviously been rubbing like hell on it at some point. And it's had chunks out of it that have gone rusty, so it's been like this for some time. So the approach is going to be the same as with the mudguards really. With the silver, I'm going to flatten this off as best I can. I'm using an emery cloth first, and then I'll give it a rub down with wet and dry. Wet. You can see bits and pieces all over it. The paint is really thick coat. I don't know whether it's the original paint or not. I doubt it. It's quite a thick coat, but quite a bit to do. And then on this side, again, the Union Jack striping's pretty good, except for that area there, which I'm going to clean up. And then I'm going to drop some paint in here. I've got Kingfisher blue, and then I've got a reasonable match for the white and the red. Just tidy that up a little bit. I thought I was going to get away with the silver on the bottom side here, but the edging was gone, so we'll get away with that. Tidy that up. But it's this back side that's by far and away the worst, with that top edge too, as you can see. So, strategy will be the same. I won't bore you with painting this one. And in fact, once we get to a good top coat on the rear mudguard, we'll call it a day with this video, because I'm sure you're sick to death of me doing painting on this for now, and we can get on with assembly after this. Right, back onto the rear mudguard then, put the front mudguard away for safekeeping, and we'll try and finish that rear mudguard off today, as it's quite warm, not too much of a breeze, so it's reasonable weather for it. Right, several more days later, due to weather and finding slight aberrations in the silver paint, requiring a bit more of a rub down, and then slight reaction, and so more undercoat, more top coat, and waiting for more paint because we've still got the chain guard to finish. But we're finally here. So I've just removed the masking from the pinstripe, and I think it's come out all right. I'm quite pleased with that. So need a bit of a clean up before we put the final lacquer coat over the top of this. The silver sheen is supposed to finish to a matte, as it has done, so that's all right, but it will obviously gloss up once we've got the lacquer on it. So I'm going to give this another day or so to bake on, hence it's why they're outside here at the minute, just getting a bit of warmth and sun. But there we are. So yeah, pretty pleased with that in the end. It took a bit of a job. We knew about that aberration before, but we'll just put a washer over that. I'm not going to get too into that. Although I do have some Kingfisher blue, but I don't think that's going to match as well as the silver sheen, to be honest. But there we are. So I'm not going to put you through the trials and tribulations of the lacquer, but we're going to be very careful with that and do some testing, etc. It is the same RS Paints lacquer as the silver sheen, so it shouldn't react, but oh God, you never know. And we've been through the mill with these damn mudguards, actually having to, 2 steps forward, 1 back, and this has taken a long while, so I'm going to be very careful with them. Yeah, but yeah, pretty pleased with that. and we can now start to think about some more assembly on the bike. Right, that's it for me for this one at last. I've bored you to death, I think, with painting, so I'm not going to show you anymore. The chain guard's going to go through the same approach. Let's get a light on, there we go. So I've done a lot of cleaning up on this, degreased it, started rubbing it down. There were chips and God knows what all over the place. This is where the rear wheel had rubbed badly on it. There was huge chips on the other side, which I'm beginning to flatten off. Massive chip and a slight dent at the top here. So as I say, what we're going to do with that is again, master pinstripe. We'll do the silver paint, come back and try and touch this in gently. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be a lot better than that. And there we are. Right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for your interest, comments and any subscriptions. And at last, we're there. See you all again soon. Cheers, bye-bye.